In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you not only how I plan my days and my weeks, how I schedule, but also how I've sort of created a therapeutic approach to my scheduling. There's so many different options out there in order to create mindful practices, but the ones that I tend to like the most are ones that encourage mindfulness in your everyday, all day actions instead of, for example, an isolated, okay, I meditate 5 minutes a day and then I write in my gratitude journal and then the rest of the day can be as chaotic as I want it to be. Now, I'm not saying those are not amazingly beneficial, but I just have found the most positive impact in my life when I can integrate it into how I exist and how I live. So I'm really excited because I've developed a few simple little actions in how I've just planned and get things done that actually I notice a big difference when I'm consistent with it on how positive and like a positive mindset I am in my day. And if I start to feel like I'm spiraling, usually I find that it's because I've sort of gone off track a little bit and haven't done this. A lot of this was inspired by my own personal struggles with the constant feeling of like, am I good enough? And I think that's kind of how everyone is. Not only is our society teaching that, but also our survival brain is always looking for what's wrong, that fix-it mentality. And so we have to fight really hard against that. And by fighting it, that's establishing the gratitude, the mindfulness practice. So also, actually, one more thing this stemmed from is I wanted to create a practice that had more self-love or self-praise. So this was also stemmed from my relationship with my husband. And I had this realization that I was relying on him too much to either tell me I'm beautiful, tell me that he loves me, tell me that I'm worthy enough. And I was realizing that I needed to start to do it for myself. And this was really inspired by Byron Katie and her work. And that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so thank you for that. Anyway, so I have these daily planner sheets that I've made. And they're in my shop. Link is in the bio. I have a few options, but this is the one that I'm working with right now. And I like to kind of tweak it sometimes. So you can create the same template if you're working in like a bullet journal or even on lined paper. And you can also choose not to do the time sheet, if you're just like into Google Calendar or something. So one quick note about paper planning versus digital. I have friends who are hardcore paper planners, and I have friends who are hardcore digital. Like my husband, he doesn't understand at all why anyone would ever work on paper. It's not as efficient or as fast. And to be honest, I agree in a lot of ways. So I'm a big fan of Asana, especially if you're working with a team. I still use Google Calendar for all my major master scheduling. And so I'm still a big fan of digital, but I recently switched to paper, and it started with bullet journaling, and then I learned how to work with Canva, and I started developing my own templates. And I switched to paper because paper offers a few things that the digital does not have, which is, one, the first step of this therapeutic way of planning. So when you're working with digital, it's easy to just throw your huge to-do list into this big abyss of online. And it just became so overwhelming how big my list grew. And I was like, man, I'm so organized, yet still feel totally overwhelmed with things. And also when you check them off, they just like disappear. And so you miss that sense of acknowledgement that like, I did that. And so at the end of the day, you still see your big to-do list in the digital world, like they don't feel personal to you. And then when they're gone, because you didn't take that time to acknowledge that you completed that, you miss out on that sort of self-praise aspect that I'm going to talk about. So let's get to the planning. Now, one more thing I like about paper I'm going to mention is that there is, and people actually do this like in therapy sessions, many people, professionals, psychologists will say that there's something extremely therapeutic about the idea of hand to paper and writing. So I've been suggested over the years various exercises specifically regarding handwriting. So when you're working with just digital, you're missing out on, again, that therapeutic aspect of it. So anyway, so long story short, I'm pretty much saying work with digital too, like Google Calendar, or if you're working with teams, use Asana. But if this is just your everyday thing, I recommend trying some paper, seeing how that works out for you. So let's get into the planning. Okay, the beginning is pretty straightforward, you know, the date and the days of the week. Your top 3. Now, one thing, we all have heard of the top 3. It's pretty standard. And you can even go into just the top 1, which is inspired by a book called Eat the Frog, which is like, get the one thing that you need to get done today. Now, the top 3 should be the things that move the needle in your life. So there's going to be a lot of things that you think are incredibly important, but what are the things of all the important things that will actually truly move the needle in your big life plan? And that kind of stems to a lot of goal planning or whatnot, not part of this video. But yes, you do your top 3 and then you do your tasks. And again, these are pretty straightforward. Leave some empty spaces. Don't fill the whole task sheet. There's not, realistically, you're not going to get all that done. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. Now, a few things that are planned is I added a training, body care, happiness bucket, and love another. So these are really important if you want to write them in your own journal. I wrote training instead of exercise. Now, training could be exercise as well, but training could also be that you're like mentally training something. It's anything that you're educating or you're working on. So there's gonna be that. There's gonna be body care, which to me, I separated body care and the happiness bucket because for the longest time, for example, I'd be like, okay, I gotta do some self-care, and I would like go to a nail salon and get my nails done. And then I'd come home all stressed because I'm thinking about the money I just spent and, you know, the time that it took away when I could have been doing other things, and like, cool, I have pretty nails, but it did not truly bring that joy and that love. So there's certain body care things I have to do. There's times where I've been so stressed or busy that I forgot to take a shower for a day or 2 or 3. And so maybe my body care for the day is like, Sarah, get in the shower right now. You need to shower. But that's not necessarily my happy bucket. Now, showers can be totally your happy bucket. But a happy bucket might be, like, it could be as simple as watching your favorite TV show, if that brings you joy. It could be going outside for a walk. It could be even like self-massaging, like just what little things. It could be like, sometimes I really like to work on my house, so I'll hang picture frames or something. So what are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that you need to do body maintenance on? Now, then the other one is love another. I think that every day you should focus on one thing that you are going to consciously try to do to show love to another. Most of the time it's to my husband. It might be like a back rub, to help him sleep at night, or making his coffee early. Like, what's just one thing that you're going to intentionally do? So those things alone are going to bring a lot of mindfulness to your planning. Now, here's some other things about the sheet. I have a wins section, but what it pretty much is it's pretty much a mixture of gratitude and self-praise. So this is my happiness, like, praise yourself moment. So when I'm doing this, when it's like the self-praise part, I like to be as dramatic, like think of throwing yourself a party. So like, let's say you restock the toilet paper, write down like, I restocked the toilet paper like a boss. Like, it looks beautiful, it's amazing. Like, obviously you want to connect to it, but just imagine someone's there like rooting you on, being like, you're amazing, like you rocked that, and I want you to write that for yourself. And so I will give myself self-praise on anything that I'm motivated. Like, I was a rock star mom. I like sat and played trains for 10 minutes. Boom, I'm amazing. You know, so, and then the other thing could be a gratitude. And gratitude is especially good if you're just feeling really negative and you're not in the right headspace. So it could be even like, I'm really grateful for this day. It was really hard and it gave me an opportunity to work on gratitude, to work on getting stronger. I'm trying, even though I feel terrible, I'm trying really hard to like, I often write, I'm the comeback kid, I'm the comeback kid. And so this will be the wins. You can either do it at the end of the night, or you can do it a little bit throughout the day, which is even better. So let's get into the tasks and how I specifically use this section. So it's really easy for you to just want to write the task that you need to get done, but there's a few things I want you to focus on. One, when you write down more detail than you think. So for example, if I'm writing down, instead of I got the like mail, let's say I needed to go pick up the mail and I process it and stuff, go through bills and all that. Instead of just writing mail, I'm going to say I got the mail and processed it, or I got the mail and paid bills. I might write it more out. Now, what's the point? Is it faster? No. But the point is not to be faster. The point is to acknowledge the things that you do. And so when you take that extra second and you write it with your hand and you see with your eyes the writing and the ink on the paper, you're taking that moment to yourself to acknowledge the thing that you accomplished. You're not rushing that part. And so when you write things out, write as much as you can. You don't have as much space to do complete sentences, but be thorough. Also, another thing I do is if it's something that I got done that was not on my original task, normally, like let's say I did a round of laundry. Normally you're like, okay, whatever, that should just be a part of your everyday. I will write it. I will take the time to be like, I did laundry. Because one, at the end of the day, when you see actually the true list of everything you got done, it'll feel good. And again, you're taking that moment to acknowledge what you did. You did the laundry. Like that's not something that you just, whatever. You didn't sit and watch TV all day. But if that's your, like, nothing wrong with watching TV all day if that's what you need to do. But I'm just saying, like, you did that thing and you deserve to acknowledge yourself for that. So another thing I like to do is, and let's talk about these 2 pens. So I only work with 2 pens, but I like 2. I like a good writing pen, and this is also a really important part of the therapeutic experience. When I first started journaling, I remember reading saying like a good pen is everything, and I'd be like, whatever, I don't want to spend money on new pens, and I would just buy whatever. It makes a big difference. So if you're bullet journaling, be mindful of like the bleed through paper. So get some thick paper, 100 or plus, 100, 120, I believe is the number for the thickness. And micron pens are really smooth and really nice if you're bullet journaling. If you're printing paper, like these planners, I don't purposely double print on the back. I just like a new sheet, so I'm not as worried. So I like, for example, I can use like a gel pen. This is just a Pilot gel pen, because I'm not worried about the bleed through, and I enjoy the smoothness of it. So get yourself a really enjoyable pen so that when you're writing it feels good. And then also I like to use, I know you can do like in the bulletproof method, you can do an X if you've completed a task, or you can just scribble out the line. But I was feeling like, again, it wasn't enough to honor the things that I was accomplishing. So I started using, because I like colors, I grabbed a red marker, and this is the Crayola brand actually. And to be honest, I picked, the markers are amazing. They don't bleed through, they're pigmented, and they are very affordable. And so I actually prefer these of all the fancy ones. So I will use the red highlight, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I don't know why I write mail and toilet, but there you go. So then I'll take the red marker. I didn't wait for the pen to dry, but you'll see. So I can still see the word underneath, but when you start to see these big red beautiful markouts, there's that contrast between the colors is really visually nice, and it shows you what you've accomplished, versus when you're just scribbling out all the to-dos. I remember looking at my paper and it just looked so busy. It was just so scribbled everywhere, and it wasn't for me as much of that therapeutic process. So I really recommend having a beautiful color to cross things out, and then having a really nice pen to work with. So a few things just to recap: write more, take that time to write out what you accomplished. Write in what you accomplished, even if it wasn't on your original task. Take that time to honor it. Use pens that you love to write with, and make sure to cross it out with the red. By the end of the day, even if it's something you haven't gotten done, transfer that information. Either choose to not do it and cross it out, or transfer that information to another place. So by the end of the day, everything on your sheet should be processed and crossed out, even if you technically didn't get that all done. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Oh, one more thing is making sure that if you're working with dailies, which I like, make sure that you have all 7 days, because when you have to transfer information over, you need to be able to move it to Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatnot. So I like having my week's worth of paper all ready to go. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, just feel free to comment below. Let me know what works for you. I would love to know if you've sort of created like a fun, relaxing process around your planning. And let's just kind of encourage each other to not be rushed. We live in a time where it's like, you're not getting enough done, you're not good enough, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. Take your time, enjoy the process of planning. And yeah, all right, hope you enjoyed. Bye.